Righto. G'day everyone. Running late as always, not organised. We don't even know what we're going to do, to be completely honest. But we will see where we end up. I am going to look through the toolbox and find, when I get in the formula right, whoever had that car before must have had real bad BO, because you turn the aircon on and it just gives you BO. And I'm positive I've got one of those coming in a car, some of that spray you put in your vents. It's crazy, but yeah. But other than that, the formula is coming up really well. All right. I was just down at the printers a minute ago. The SS hoodies are done. I'm heading back there. I've got 6 or 8 local tows to do. And then off to the printers again this afternoon to get more of that done, because it's coming up very soon. Okay. G'day Vern, how are you, mate? G'day Jamie. Hey Luke. LJ, Luke, how are you? Jamal, how are you, buddy? All right. I'm just looking through trying to find this spray. I think Leith said he had some as well. So I might have to go down to his car and steal it off him. See if we can't get this smell out of the vents, because I'm pretty sure my girls don't want to smell it. Oh, I'll hear all the time, Dad, what's that smell? Dad, what's that smell? All right. Okay. G'day Ian. G'day Nuke. How are you? G'day Rob. Hey Blind Garage. How are you, buddy? I'm not sure what we've got today, mate, to be honest. I just rolled in the yard and I am chasing my tail to work something out. We did get a carby kit for the I've been that busy this week trying to get the shirts sorted and stickers sorted, as well as work, as well as get this trip organised. Because to be honest, like I opened my mouth about this trip and then looked how far it was and then realised, Jesus, because it's not just how far it is, it's the amount of money I actually need to do the trip. But I said I was going to do it, so we're doing it. Oh, here we go. Mad. We have new car freshener, which will hopefully take away the BO smell. This car, like, look at this. This thing's awesome. Leith has excelled himself with this thing now. It is just absolutely spot on. I drove it home last night. The temp gauge didn't move this time.
Yeah, I fixed that.
Yeah?
Yeah, just bad contact on the fender itself.
Okay.
And the thermo fan would have been staying on because the actual coolant temperature sender for the ECU, that wasn't connecting properly either. So
okay.
The ECU would have thought it was running hot.
Yep.
Which would make it go. So
would that have been tricking our check engine light?
It could have been, yeah. But the thermo fan was running constantly when I started it before. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyway, we're back. When I went home, I'll explain that quickly. Drove this home last night and we were having the heating issues and the temp gauge wasn't even moving. So when I got back here this morning, I'm going to drive this to Black Button back tomorrow to test drive it, and that's about the only test drive it's going to get, and then we're going to launch it on Thursday. But yeah, it just had nothing, but Leith fixed that this morning. Okay, hey guys, Red and Nicole team, hope you're all well. Yeah, Nicole, because we're going away, is doing a lot of her stuff this morning. Okay, formula's looking good. Are you parting out any patrols? Only, oh no, Leith sold that one. There's a real old patrol over there, but no late model patrols. But anyway, the formula. Okay, so I'm back down. I'm getting that sticker there made up. It's done now to go along the bonnet scoop here. Okay, so that'll go on there today. I've still got to get the rear windows tinted because that's not done yet. But the paint, as you can see, has come up all right. This thing presents, he's put the SS lips front and rear again, which makes a big difference. The wheels have been cleaned up. I actually got another set of these wheels this week, but fully chromed ones. I bought a whole crashed VY to get them. G'day buddy. Okay, yeah, it's come up really well. But what I'm doing now is putting some of this freshness stuff. How's this car? It's full budget model. It's got no central locking, no electric mirrors, nothing. Like, it's full old school. But yeah, no, it's good. But yeah, this will either help or wreck it, one or the other. But it stinks, eh? Like, it's bloody crazy smelly bad. you reckon that's enough or what? Ugh. I still haven't really cleaned too much in here. It's yeah, when you turn the aircon on, all you smell is BO. It's bloody crazy. The guy that used to have it must have been real stinky, eh? Like crazy stinky. But yeah, so that's her with the lips back on it. It's a shame it's got that tow bar cut out, but there is a tow bar on it. You never know, one day I might put a tow bar on her. But she's come up so good. Just really happy with it. The front lip that we had is was always a little bit bent, but he's got that on the best he can. Those, I didn't have a set of SS driving lights there for this, but those LED ones will be good for the road trip. So yeah, looking for a bull bar for a GU. Oh, we've got a Land Cruiser one there, but no GU ones at the moment, sorry. Summonats, yes, perhaps. It's not out of the question. Do you... Okay, I'll go that way, so it's in the background. Okay. G'day, Ford Best, how are you? How's the pollen filter? Leith was checking that this morning, mate. So, yeah. What suspension is in the formula? Thank you very much for your super chat, buddy. Really, Travie boy, thank you very much, mate. Yeah, and that will help with the road trip, mate. Trust me, because I actually sold. The suspension is FE2s that we modified a touch. I actually sold this about 10 minutes ago to fund the trip, guys. So yeah, that's how much thought the 38 two-door is going. That's how much thought I put into... You're right, buddy. That's how much thought I put into this trip before I opened my mouth up. I didn't even have the money. Yeah. Thank you for that super chat, mate. I appreciate it. G'day, Paul. How are you this morning, mate? Yeah, and then not only that, I said that I don't think before I open my mouth, and I say I'm going to do these things, and then I say the merch site's going to start up on the 1st of September, and we're leaving straight after that, so the orders are going to come in. I've got to work out that, and I haven't even worked out how I'm going to post these stickers yet. just tap dancing, guys, to try and get things done. But yeah, but it'll all work out. We just got to follow the process. Good morning, Trent. How are you, buddy? Who else have we got? What's the plan for the Cortina? Okay, still just accumulating parts. Okay, I went over and saw a bloke named Peter in Toowoomba on Thursday. I think it was, yeah, Mia was with me Thursday. And he gave me front end cuts and stuff to, the front end cuts to repair where it's all crashed. Right, so that'll get welded back together. So I've got enough now to repair all that crushed section in the front with the Cortina, which is sitting here. Okay, and we have over here an XR6 sitting here. This has got a 4-litre in it and a manual. Okay, so that's a manual. So I've got all loom and computer and everything for the Cortina. So it's not going to cost me a fortune to start that project now and get that underway. But I'm not starting on the Cortina until I've got a lot of this stuff out of the shed, so I can concentrate on it and start and finish it. The formula for this road trip has really taken all of our time, but it's almost done, and it should be a mad road trip down that way. When's the beaver tail build going to be finished? That one there. I just haven't put the video up, buddy. It's done. Like, I use this every day. It's, yeah, I drive this every day, all day, every day. My old truck's still just sitting there, which we're gonna have to do something with soon. But yeah, no, this is my daily driver. The beaver tail's done. I'm about to buy another one of these trucks and build another one very soon, within the next couple of months as well, before Christmas at least. Anyway, so yeah, the beaver tail is just done. Plans for summer nats. I'm not going to this year's summer nats. I just got too much on. But you never know. It depends what we've built and what we've got going on for summer nats, guys. G'day Big Mac, how are you? I actually done a video on the XR8. I have some direction on that now. I honestly wasn't. I'm just going to see if that smell's gone, guys. I wasn't excited about doing that XR8 at all. And but I saw a picture on Facebook the other night. I've done a video which will go up probably Sunday or Saturday. Got to edit it, and yeah, and it'll soon. And that's better. Doesn't stink anywhere near as much. The guy must have rigged, the guy that had this car. Like, everything else has been changed, all the carpet and seats and everything, the hood liner, the door trims, but in the vents he just stunk, eh? Spray some in the rear center vents. Yeah, right, it's a deal. But I don't think those vents actually connected on. There we go. But anyway, that's not very smart when you spray it in the vent and the vent's actually on. But yeah, so no, she's come up well, this thing, and the temp gauge should work now, which is another bonus. And yeah, we've put in for the trip, we've changed so I can charge things. We've put in USB ones here, a drink holder, look at that, mad. And in there's another USB one for the kids for their crap in the back. So we're almost set, guys, we're getting there. But yeah, I wasn't too organised for this. The old blown Jag would be all right in the burnout competition. It's not really a burnout car, mate. Those engines in those burnout cars are big money, $20,000-$30,000. That I'd to go and do one burnout to absolutely destroy that car and throw it in a scrap heap doesn't excite me. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't. Like, it's burnout cars are an acquired taste, and that you've got to be very passionate about doing it. The boys that do it do a great job, and at this point I do not have the money to spend $30,000 on a blown motor to rebuild it every week. Yeah, I'm sorry, but it's just, I like building them, I don't like destroying them. 5 months away to the Summer Nats 2020. Yeah, I won't be there. I will not be there. Like, I've got this road trip now, I just won't be there. It's just that simple. Yeah. Yes, it would be awesome to see the old Jag. The Jag will be back together. I've got to pull the gearbox out of it. I'm thinking about doing a video. I bought that SS there, the LS one with the buggered gearbox. I've never actually rebuilt. I've never really rebuilt an auto at all, ever. They're just not something that I've ever done. But I might do a bit of research, find out how to rebuild them, and yeah, rebuild a 4L60E and show you how it works and see if it can work. That way you guys can see if you can do it yourself, just step by step. And the Power Glide, Leith's going to probably do that one anyway and put a full manual valve body in it. But as I said, we've been concentrating on the formula, so I haven't had time to touch anything else. But the Jag, I do want it going because I do want to drive it. So yeah, all right. Yes, it would be awesome. Yeah, I wouldn't either. The Jag would be, yeah, it's just a good daily. That car's quite a rare car. It's a XJ6 short wheelbase Series 1 Jag. It's not something you'd go and skid. But anyway, people do, but that's their choice. Yeah, a street car, that's where I'm at. Like, I want to be able to build, I'm going to build a drift car and stuff like that, but to build a massive burnout car, I'd have to sell most of my cars and have one car to work on and spend all my money and time repairing that car just to do burnouts. Like, I just can't get there. I'm sorry, guys. Could you fix up the Jag to make it so it wouldn't break in? Could you fix so it wouldn't break? Okay. When you go in one of those burnout competitions, okay, the temperature that everything gets to is crazy, right? The engine, a lot of them overheat. You are sitting them on rev limiter almost the whole time, right? It just absolutely destroys the engine. You don't normally run a temp gauge and stuff in your autos and your gearboxes, but they run temp gauges in their gearboxes as well, because it just fries everything. It is so hard on those cars that they do that with. Not only that, you paint it all nice and then you throw tyres off the back and smash quarters off, or it's just not really where I'm at. And Leith helps me with everything here, and I couldn't ask for a better bloke. But if I told him I'm building a burnout car to go out and destroy it every weekend, he said, he'd just turn around and say, "You're on your own, dude, I'm not building that." So yeah, it's just both of us. It's not where we are. I don't mind dropping the odd skid, but sorry, it's just not who I am. Yeah. Yeah, one burnout is roughly the same wear as 4 quarter-mile passes. That's it. Drag racing I have no problem with, and we will go to the track and do that, but skidding it, I just don't get there. Like, anyway, it's just, seems to come up all the time, but what do you do? Surprised I'm not going to do a Barra in a Cortina. Christ. Barras. Okay. Yes, Barras make big horsepower. Are they cheap to do? No. I've got Barras here. I've got 4 or 5 Barras here in the yard, okay, but a naturally aspirated Barra is just a donkey. It's no better than any other 6-cylinder, okay? But I've known guys that have built $20,000, $30,000 Barras. 3 months later, they're rooted. To buy a Barra to start with, 3.5 grand. Where am I going to find one for $1,000 or $500 with a turbo manifold? You're not. It's not like buying an LS. I don't see any value for money in a Barra. I'm a V8 person. I'm sorry. I just cannot. It's even killing me, this formula being a 6-cylinder. Honestly, like, I'm just not a 6-cylinder guy. I've grown up with V8s. I've always wanted V8s, and it's very hard to change who you are. And Barras, I just can't get there, guys. I just can't. Plus, a Barra is a long motor. You have to modify. When I was talking to Peter the other night where I got the Cortina stuff, you've got to modify all the firewall and everything to put the Barra into that Cortina for what? You know what I mean? And then you got to... I just can't get there. Like, just the engine, without engine, manifold, turbo, ECU, loom, gearbox, to make any sort of shitty horsepower out of a Barra for that car, I'm looking at 6-7 grand. It's just not there. Where I can do another motor and have it in there for $1,500 and do this relatively the same thing and have a nice driver. So I just don't. Barra. It's just constant. Like, there's a lot of hype. You know what I mean? I'll put a 1J in that or a 2J before I put a Barra in it. But anyway, LS the world. It's not even LS. It's just. When do you leave for Esrock? Thursday. This Thursday we should be leaving. Wednesday night, Thursday. Overheating. Okay. I live next door to Mick Brasher. Yeah, he's got big money to do that stuff. He does a good job. He builds a nice car. It's where he's at and what he does. I don't have that money, honestly. I work 14 hours a day to pay for all this crap, and I still don't have enough money. And he's in a different league to me, like massive league. He does, yeah, for street cruising, burnout. So, yeah, that's the world. Chuck an 8 in her. I don't want to put a V8 in it either. I've got that 4-litre there, and it'll be good with a turbo or something on it. Spend all your money on your cars, and to possibly destroy it in 2 minutes, rather go cruising in your car you've built. Yeah, I'd rather go driving. I'm sorry, but the burnout thing is not who I am. The drifting thing, I would like to get into drifting, to be honest. I think that'd be quite an enjoyable thing. You do destroy those cars as well, but not as bad. I don't know. But yeah, it's just, yeah. For a cracked exhaust manifold, it's better to replace the JB weld. Good enough. JB weld's going to fall off, but exhaust manifolds are made of cast steel. You can weld them with a MIG, but it won't. The weld won't crack. It'll crack next to the weld. You'll weld it again. It'll crack next to the weld. It might last you 12 months, 2 years. It might last forever. Welding exhaust manifolds is hard. JB weld will get you out of trouble for a little while, but it's not a permanent fix. You probably should, yeah. Did someone actually agree with me about Barras? I had a Barra, you're spot on. It's just hard. Like, Leith's been building motors for years with Barras and done it, and they just cost money. They're big money motors. They're not cheap horsepower. Like, there's a Barra here on the ground. Look, I've got, it's not like I don't have one or 5. There's one sitting here that's supposed to go out to a customer. See, there's one right there. The size of a Barra, the physical size of one is huge too. So there's one there. It's not like I don't have them. It's just the length of the Barra, okay? Sometimes 100 mil in a conversion is the difference between an extra month's work of fabrication, you know, like, but yeah. would you like to build as what would I like to build as? I've got it here already. Hey mate, love the live stream. Thank you very much, mate. I'm sorry that I sound like I'm whinging about barrows, but I'm just sick and tired of hearing about them. Would you like to build as a drift project? I've got it over here. I've got a Supra, and the barrow thing, anything with a boost is a money pit. Yep, that's it. Not just a barrow. That's exactly right. But barrows, they're not as reliable as a lot of people would like you to believe. They are, you know, all guys are going to argue with me right and wrong over it. It's just the reality of it. There's a bloke here in town. He's got a really, really tough XR6 ute. Spent 30 grand. Took it to the dyno, done 2 runs, blew it up. Rebuilt it again, took it back, and I've never seen it on the road ever since. I don't know what happened to it, but he spent massive money. Blew it up twice on the dyno. I've towed it down there the first time. Yeah, it was, I'm talking $30,000 motor. 2 runs, blew it up. Like, yeah. And that doesn't come down to the engine builder. That just comes down to what they are. Okay, here we go. This is what I have for a drift car. A Supra. And the reason I don't mind turning this into a drift car is because I can cut all those inner wells out and build a pipe front on it because it's been crashed here. It's never going to go back on the road. What's going to go in it, I have absolutely no idea. But it's not actually a bad sort of car. But that's what I have at the moment as a donor, as a drift car. You can buy cages for them pretty cheap. But yeah, so the plans are there to do this one down the track, guys. But yeah, how's my day been? Christ, got up this morning late and then had children to deal with, and then had to run out the door, and I committed, and then I had to get to the printers to get shirts over there, as well as improve some designs to start printing stuff, and then do a tow, get back to here in time, and here I am. Here we go. Tickford motors are a little smaller. I had one very similar to the Barra, but still love the Holden 5.7. Yes, I do too. We got any other ones? Yeah. It's just one of those things. It's just Barra's physical size. We've looked at doing a Barra a few times. Like, I've got that Jag in there. Okay, we looked at Barra in that, but the physical height of the Barra wouldn't work. So that's why the turbo is just going onto the standard 4.2 litre Jag motor. We looked at the F100 and went and drove a mate's one that has a Barra in an F100, and he can't even tow a car with it. So the money I'm going to have to spend to get the torque I need out of it, just with the weight of the vehicle and the size of the wheels, even though I'm putting small, but anyway, it's not there. Cortina, it's too big to go in that without modifying the firewall, and realistically, why would you modify all the firewall in that when you can put the 4 litre in, which, as old mate said, they're relatively the same motor, and you can do pretty cool things with the 4 litres. We've got a Ford guy, Seb, that works here, and he just said, mate, I'm so glad to hear you're not putting a Barra in it. He goes, that 4 litre, the heaps better motor. When they changed from the 4 litre to the Barra, they went from a twin timing chain, apparently in the 4 litre, and I don't quote me on this, to a single with the Barra. And there was certain things they'd done in the Barra because of the physical size of them that they had to skimp on, and that's why they're not as reliable. I can't see the comments, guys. I'll have to get somewhere where the shade's right. Tuning is the key to any motor. Yes, it is, but at the same time, the motor still has to be strong enough to hold together. Tickford 5.7. Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Red. I can't read the name. Damon, how are you? Read the Cortina drift car. Reckon you'd do something. Red, make a Cortina. I don't want to destroy the Cortina, guys. I am. The cars, you know, people have heritage listed houses. The cars to me are Australian history, and to turn one into a drift car and go and destroy it, I just can't get there, guys. I know that the Supra, so the JDM guys think that it's a classic, but they all go out and drift and wreck them as well. The Cortina would be a nice drive car. I'd like to have a side mount blower or something sticking out the bonnet of it, which would be great on that, the end result. But it's hard. I think Leith is working over here on the Valiant today. I did get a carby kit, but he's pulled the carby off. I wanted to do a video on doing the carby kit, but there he is. He's actually working away. I'd be lost without this bloke, honestly. Yeah, all right. G'day, Daniel. How are you? So I hope everyone understands. As soon as I mention this word, he's gonna look at me. I hope you all understand what I'm talking about with the Barra. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Yeah. So Oh, do you find another 350, or is that one of those
That's
Economasters?
320 Economaster. You see 50 boosters inside.
Okay,
That's your normal style boosters. Those ones there.
Okay, so Holley 2-barrel carbies, guys. This is for the Valiant. Okay, we've just bought kits for it because when we started it the other day, it was leaking out of the accelerator pump wasn't working. So what Leith's doing, he was just explaining that this one's a 320.
Yeah.
Is that correct? And that one there's a 350 Holley. And you tell the difference by what were you saying?
Well, on the 320 is basically just a 350, but if you look inside there, that's your normal style boosters, and as the air goes past that, that's what draws the fuel through. But in a 320, you've got bigger boosters, so obviously the bigger the booster, the less air that's going to go through, but it gets a better signal through those style of boosters. So basically, they are just more of an economical style carby, slightly smaller, less CFM, but yeah, heaps better signal. So.
Okay. Which carby are we running?
We will be using the 350, but I just got that one out just to...
I didn't even realise. Where was that? I didn't even realise I had that.
No, it's in the box of carby bits out the back there.
Okay. I don't even realise what I got half the time, guys. I buy that much rubbish. Side mount blower on the Contina. Yeah, I agree. Leith, we'll probably play with it a bit. Leith's talking... We'll turbo and play with it, and then from there put the blower on, and then feed the turbo into the blower, and away we go. So something different, something.
Either that or a compound turbo setup.
Yeah, we've got some ideas to do with it. It's not happening tomorrow, the Cortina, but it is going to happen. If I stand on the other side, I won't get the shadows.
Oh,
man.
okay. Well, there's our biggest issue. It's the float level.
Okay, there was
It's
no.
stuck to the floor, so I was getting bugger all fuel through. Okay, so wind the needle and seat. That should come down, but it's not. So there you go. So the float level is just stuck to the needle and seat's jammed. So, geez, that's in there.
Australia was the dumping ground for the 320 Economaster, eh? What are you doing with the VXSS?
Donor car.
With the VXSS, do the top end and cam in it. Yeah, we'll do something like that, buddy. I haven't really given it much thought at this stage to what we're actually going to do with the motor, but it's another one. I just bought it as a donor, and I'd like to rebuild one of the gearboxes, one of those 4L60Es. But that's when we get back from this big trip. At the moment,
there's pretty much nothing that you're going to be able to tell me about an LS that I don't already know. I've been specialising in LSs since 2003. When me and Red had an engine shop down the Gold Coast, we did the first roots blown LS in the world, and it was pretty much the first to make 1,000 horsepower. And that was it was on the front cover of Street Machine in 2004. So if you look that up, the car was called Stealth. It was just a black VT Commodore. When we first got it going, was basically just a standard engine with a cam, threw a 671 on it, had a hat. It was EFI. We had 8 injectors at the top, 8 injectors at the bottom. With the stock engine with 8-pounder boost, it made 460 at the tyres. So even back then for an LS, that was pretty damn good. Like there wasn't anything like that around. Then we did a 408 Qd cast iron bottom end, ported heads, really big solid stick in it, a few other bits and pieces, and it made 815 at the tyres, which is around 1,000 horsepower flywheel. So that was way back then. And that engine now is in an FX Holden, and it's still sort of making that horsepower today, but it's just undrivable in the FX. So because the FX handles like a bucket of shit.
I've got a question here. What's a good street cam for an LS?
Good street cam. You want something with like 228, 232 at 50, or around that sort of mark, around the 230 at 50, like 50th hour duration, and just around the 600 lift mark. You can run anything up to 600 lift with the standard rockers. You will have to put better valve springs and better push rods in it. But standard rockers, like it's not very often you've got to replace the rockers on an LS. Like they are, the best thing you can do with them is just run a trunnion kit in them. Crane cams make a trunnion kit for them. Excuse me guys, just have someone go into the workshop there.
I just got a customer turn up, guys. There's just a customer turned up, so Leith just got to go and serve them. Okay, yeah. Leith loves his LSs, as you can hear. He's quite keen on them. What have we got? Watching the best YouTube channel. Thank you very much, Hamish. That's a that's a bold call. I just finished mowing my lawns. That's awesome, dude. Wish you could come and do mine. Leitho, the fashion platter, repping the Kingatow tee. Yeah, that's it. We've both got our work shirts now. It's only taken me what?
Yeah, but I get the dodgy upside down one.
Leith got the test one, so that was all right. But I gave him some more just before. All right. Seems like one hell of a handy dude to have in the shop. Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't be here doing it without him, put it that way. I'd been trying to encourage him to come up and work with me again for a long time. Luckily, he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And then come up. So it's yeah.
I just got to grab a screwdriver.
Chilling at work, watching these files. That's yeah. I was going to do a video on doing these carbies, but I might do a 4-barrel one, which that way, yeah, you'll get more of an idea rather than just doing a 2-barrel one. We weren't sure what we were going to do today, guys. I'd just been chasing my tail to even get here today to get this done. Putting this road trip together has been kicking my ass. I still haven't even sat down and looked at the map yet to work out what we're going to stop and see. On the road trip, we are going to do live streams along the way, okay, and you guys can come out and meet us along the way because you'll know where we're going to be. And I'm going to try and I was talking to Nicole about it, I'm going to edit video along the way so we have daily videos going up of where we are and what we're doing. She said apparently it's against the law to sit in the front of a car with a laptop open and do that, so I'm going to have to sit in the back. And yeah, young Mia will love that anyway, but yeah. But I don't know, guys, we're just trying to do our best and poke along, but yeah. What are you doing with the Clevo in the F-Truck? I found another motor for that, another 351. It's $950. I've just got to go and buy it. There's a small cam and stuff in that Clevo, so the one that's in the F100 now, so the cam will probably come out of that while the heads are off. Well, I'll probably pull the heads off the new motor. Leith will give them half a port. We'll give it just half a freshen up. It won't be any sort of big horsepower thing. That car's more about the chassis work that's going to get done. I've got the diff there for it now. I've got the front end parts and all that sort of stuff to lower it, okay, and sit it right on the ground. So it's just a case of get some of these other jobs done, get it in the workshop and work it out. But yeah, the road trip thing is something I really want to do a lot, and it's going to accumulate building cars for that and doing that. The other stuff will get done too. Yeah, the Suzuki's running. We were going to sort of look at it today, but I haven't ordered the flares and stuff for it, so it just sits there. Don't forget to spray the pollen filter. Oh yes. Did you end up finding? He's not there. He's serving a customer. Where's the Valiant in your list of priorities? Really want to see. The Valiant is quite high in my priorities, to be honest, Red. I will not waste my time and money on a 4R60E auto. I agree, mate. They are absolute dog shit. Spent big money on one. It's the worst auto ever built. I agree, but it is something that comes up all the time where you can get that car. Well, we sold that car to him. Every single panel in it, I can't believe what he's done to it. It was a perfect. It had no rattles in it. It was a beautiful car, but I would like to make the Ute a Brisbane Ute, a B&S Ute. Not sure. Yeah, Turbo 400s are good. It's just finding them as well at the moment, and they're cheaper to rebuild, I suppose. What's that? Yeah. It's a lot of all the cars that I build, I want to be able to drive. Use a screen filter for the laptop in the front seat. I'll just sit in the back. It's all right. I'll just sit in the back with the kids. It doesn't worry me. One of the girls can jump in the front, and I'll jump in the back. The pollen filter. Did you find that in the VN?
The VNs don't have them.
No? No. Apparently there is no pollen filter in a VN. Yeah, B&S Ute might as well go to the beach. I take it you're from the Gold Coast, are you? But anyway, all right, back to the carby, guys. I'll jump on this side. All right, so he's found that the needle and seat was stuck in the carby that was on the valve.
Blocked to the shit.
And that's your needle and seat for the that's your needle and seat out of the Holley. Okay, so your fuel, from the top of a Holley you see a big nut. The nut actually screws onto here. Okay, and see that there moves up and down. I'll just wait for that to focus.
That one probably doesn't go up and down at the moment.
I just got it to move,
So,
but yeah, in there, well, focus that. See in that little hole there, there's a point. right? I'll show you on this one, might be better. Are you going to use that right now?
Okay.
Okay, so inside there, see that little point? Will that focus for me or what? I don't know. If you can see that point there, that actually goes up, right? So when the float bowl comes up, that thing pushes up into there. So the pointy bit, the black piece, why won't that focus? Okay, that there goes up. So, oh, fuck's sake. The pointy bit goes up and seats into there. That's why it's called a needle and seat. That stops the fuel flow from going through into the float bowl. Tilt, touch on screen. Okay. It's just hard to hold it all and do it, guys. Nicole's working today, so yeah, okay. Anyway, that goes up, see how that moves, goes up. It's your needle, it's like a little rubber bit on the end of it, and that sits and that stops it. Now, when the seat sticks, it sticks like that and allows the fuel just to flow through, which is a sticky needle on the seat. That way, when you hit the side of the bowl, what happens is it releases like that. You hit the side of the bowl, it ends up releasing it and lets the fuel not keep flowing, and it stops it from flowing fuel everywhere and works.
End up coming out the breather on the top.
Because that's your breather on the top there for your float bowl. Okay, so if you are going to try and start a car, instead of pouring it directly down the throat, if you actually put it in that breather, it'll fill the float bowl like you saw me do on the Cortina, and that way your jets will actually spray in here, which will make it a lot easier to start the actual car. I hope that made sense, guys. Put it in the boot of the car and it should focus. Could you guys see that, could you? Yeah, so that's a lot of the reason why this carby was not working on the Valiant last week, is because it was just continually flowing fuel in, which then just floods the engine and turns it to a nightmare.
Carby's actually really good apart from that. It's obviously just had a fair bit of crap go through it.
That's our 350, yeah.
Yeah, I won't use the 320, I'll use the 350. No, so good so far. There's no blocked orifices or anything like that, but I will give it a quick blow with the air blower. Main concern is the metering plate.
So this is your metering plate, guys.
Okay, that's the jets. Basically, the bigger the jet, the more fuel that goes through. That's your power valve there. What a power valve does, it works under vacuum. So this power valve is I'd say it's a 6.5. Yeah, 6.5. So on the side there, probably can't see, but it's got 6.5. So what happens is your jets, at idle, the power valve is closed, right? So say you've got 12 inches of vacuum, that'll be closed. As you accelerate, like those jets will be flowing fuel through the boosters, right? But then when the vacuum drops to 6.5 inches of vacuum, that's when the power valve opens and lets more fuel through. So basically that's what helps make the car be more progressive. So if you've got a car with a big cam or something and you've only got say 8 or 9 inches of vacuum, that will open too soon. Or a 3.5 power valve. But that's, there's a lot of tuning involved in doing that sort of stuff. So if you sort of know, if you put a vacuum gauge on a car and you can see if it's like bogging down a certain amount of vacuum or something like that, you can start changing the power valve to try and correct that. So, but yeah, this one's got... It
was my ringtone, guys, sorry. Someone asked if we're using good parts. Okay. Fuel Miser have been a company that have done carby kits forever. There are most of the kits are the same. It's not a case of with carby's a good kit or a bad kit.
And that's it. There's no real difference in any of them. It's pretty much how you put it together. And
a kit will cost you $60 to $80, something like that. They're all about the same. We're not worrying about changing jets and power valves in this because it's just a standard motor. I didn't get this one from eBay. I didn't have time because we had not worked out what we were going to do on Saturday. Leith said he needed a carby kit. We can maybe do the carby. So I ordered that. It came across from Toowoomba. It up this morning. That's why I was almost late, because I was supposed to get it yesterday but ran out of time. But eBay was around $65 delivered. The the chick at Repco told me it was going to be about $90 over there, but then when the guy served me this morning, I paid about 78 or something with it, with $8 freight. So Repco was around about the same price as eBay anyway, but I'm actually finding Supercheap with their parts now are starting to be very competitive with eBay stuff. So it is worth checking back against Supercheap these days. Depending on who I get served with at Repco is depending on what price I get. Like I can get really good prices. Like the Valiant inlet manifold gasket the other day was $16 from Supercheap, but they didn't have one and couldn't get one in time for me. I rang Repco and they were $48 or something. It was ridiculous. I said, why is Supercheap $16 and you're $48? In the end, I got it for $26 or $27. That's with $10 freight in it as well. Supercheap will match eBay as long as it's a store. Okay, well there you go. What does Leith think of full spools? Well,
depends on the application, I guess. Depends what you're using it for. If it's just a street car, I think it's ridiculous myself. But if it's a race car, like circuit cars, they all run full spools. Like all your V8 supercars and pretty much anything goes around a circuit uses a full spool. Anything drag racing with big horsepower, yeah, you could have a full spool.
My thing in SS to take it to the supermarket and park in the car park, you don't want the full spool.
Yeah, that's
it's a freaking pain in the ass.
And they are good with the right application. You actually need them in most applications.
And my tyres are destroyed in the SS because of that. Repco stands for rip every pore. Yeah. Fair enough. Have you got many VY Commodore parts? I think there's 1 or 2 VYs in the yard. Most of them are fairly well stripped out, but you never know. All you can do is ask the question, and hopefully we've got it here. We are only a small yard. There was another question up here I saw before. I'm not sure whether LJ Luke was talking about the 4L60Es getting rebuilt with good parts or not. When I do a box, I will be using good parts to give it the best. They're just that sort of gearbox. The 4L60E, Leith.
They're good to a certain amount of horsepower. Like I've done a couple of turbo ones with the 4L60Es. First run the dyno, they just destroyed themselves. But I have also done a couple, like some pretty good aspirated ones that are making 450 at the tyres. But you can buy a kit from the States that has like Corvette servos and extra clutch packs and all that sort of stuff in it. If you do that, not too bad. They are probably the weakest link when it comes to anything tough LS. But if you're not, same as anything, it's only as strong as what you put inside it. So if we're doing like for the hard top, we'll probably just buy one of those kits from the States. Extra clutches and Corvette servos and stuff like that. And it'll be good enough for what we need.
This one here, I'm going to buy just a normal kit so I can cut my teeth and work out what's inside the auto, and I'll run through it with you guys. Like I'll show you how I learn and what I look at to learn something and know the ins and outs of stuff. So I'm going to build a standard one. We'll put it back in that car and be able to drive it and test drive it and see what it does. And that way I'll know what I have to do to build the tough box for the hardtop. Okay, so you'll see that stuff as it comes, and that way you'll have the 2 videos to compare against of doing a standard box, because a lot of you guys don't want to spend a shitload of money on a big B&M kit or whatever for an extra servos and that. You just want your car going again. You just want second and third gear to change and away you go. So if you can buy a kit for under $200, pull your box out, spend a weekend, put it back in, you're cheering, which is what this first video is going to show. The second video will be building a tough box for the hardtop. I hope that made sense, guys. All right. Cracking a Qld. Mate, I've got that many jobs to do. There'll be no Qlds for me for a long time. Do you have a Bursons near you? We have Bursons in Toowoomba. They're awesome. A lot of the times if I'm going to Toowoomba and need parts, they've always got stuff in stock, don't they? Like, they're pretty good. So we ring them and they put the stuff aside for us and I go and grab it, but not here in Kingaroy. I don't know. I hope all that made sense. All right, let's have another look at where Leitho's at with his carby, eh?
Making sure everything's good, so I can just take a quick clean and slap back together. Pretty much everything's pretty good on it.
Okay, so he's just going through checking stuff. So what are you looking at when you're checking stuff?
Basically just shaft play. This thing does have a little bit of shaft play, but not enough for the butterflies to want to actually hit the side of the body. So that will be, I'm quite happy with that.
Okay. If you have too much shaft play, as he just said, these butterflies will hit the side of the the body, which will make your throttle either stick, and it can also let air through it'll make it hard to set your idle because it'll be
end up
sucking
air through through the ends of the shaft.
And they actually stop the air from going into the motor when they're shut. But if they can move side to side, and that way it'll allow air to come through, and it'll make it very hard to set your mixture and set your idle. Yep. Okay. So that's just something to look at when you're rebuilding your carby.
That's pretty much it. And basically it's just going to be standard putting it back together. They did supply, which is good, an 8.5 power valve in the kit. Because that's a standard cam and all that, it will have a fair bit of vacuum with such a small carb on it. So the 8.5 is actually going to work really well. The one that come out of it is actually a high flow one. You can see the amount of holes in the power valve there. That's actually like a damn good power valve. That one there's only got the 2 little orifices there. So, but that's the difference between a standard power valve and a high performance one.
Which one are we putting back in?
I'll put the 8.5 in there. We don't need that. I'll keep that for a good car.
This 350 is probably right at the limit of the too big for that 6-cylinder. So stepping that power valve down is not a bad thing, I suppose.
Well, it's not so much stepping it down. It's for the amount of vacuum it's going to have, because it is a standard cam and it is a pretty small carby. It will draw it'll have a lot of vacuum. So it's probably going to have 15 or 16 inches of vacuum, so the 8.5 power valve is going to
let me know if I can help, okay?
Right time.
Thanks for your help, mate.
Yep.
I'll show you a good review.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Cheers. See you, buddy. Bye. We just had a guy in here. It was an insurance job. He just had to clear all his stuff out of his car before it goes to panel beaters. Okay, what am I putting in the 2-door valve? I've already put an LS in it. Okay, so there's an LS and a 4L60E in the hardtop, and I've got a Borg Warner True Track diff there to go in it. Okay, we've got a short and I've got a 4-link RSN to weld up, and I'll run through all that with you guys. Leith, with the V6 Ecotec MOTO rebuilding with good parts and a G-Trag with a V6 Ecotec. Yeah. I think he means, is it worth rebuilding an Ecotec?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, Ecotecs are a good motor. They are.
I like them.
Yep, they are.
I got a mate down in Melbourne, Rodney, and he's got a twin turbo one that makes close to 1,000 horsepower. Don't get me wrong, it is a big dollar engine. Still runs a standard crank, but pretty much the best rods and pistons you can buy. We spent a lot of money and time on the cylinder heads. And that's an absolute animal. It runs a Heltec ECU, but that's just in a VT Commodore. That does run a turbo 400 behind it. But that will be up here soon in a couple of months, I hope. So you'll be able to see it. So when he brings that up there, we'll take you for a drive in that, so you can actually see what a big horsepower Ecotec goes like. Okay,
we've got Jake here. What auto box? I've got a VTSS and it's blown up the 4L60E. What would you put in it? My opinion is the 4L60E has a overdrive, okay, which is better for your fuel economy. A turbo 350 is a good box, but you're only a 3-speed auto. What do you reckon, Leith?
It all depends on the horsepower you're making. If it's a standard engine with the mild cam, I'd just go the same. Well, basically the same engine, same gearbox again, which would be a turbo 700, which is basically a 4L60E, just not quite as computerized.
Yeah, you can get an early. The VNs come out with a 4L60. Okay, which is
still a turbo 700.
Yeah, it's they're both turbo 700s. There's a 4L60 and a 4L60E. E means electronically controlled, and the non-E is a cable kickdown one. The early cable kickdown ones did not seem to have the same issues as the electronically ones. I put a SS box into a Calais, and I could be wrong, but it was like the computer had a different shift program in the computer, and it never shifted right. Yeah, it's a hard one, these autos. We have super cheap. I'd rather go to a local small parts supplier. We have a good parts supplier here, a small one, Nanango Spare Parts down here in Nanango.
Hopefully Shane's watching. G'day, Shane.
Yeah, he does really well as well on pricing. So anyone that's local around here, Nanango Spare Parts are very competitive on price. Litho, VX, V6 and Auto, what do you think about them?
Yeah,
so that's Ecotec. He just explained that then about.
I don't mind Ecotecs at all. I've done a lot of work with a lot of Ecotecs.
Quick.
Done some tough aspirated ones, done some tough turbo ones, a lot of L67s and that as well. There's nothing wrong with them at all. I have done a lot of Buicks as well. I do prefer the Buick motors just because, I don't know, to me they're more old school. But the Ecotec heads definitely do flow better than the earlier ones. The one thing I could suggest is doing a balance shaft delete on them. Because a lot of the times you'll hear a rattle in the top of them, and you might think, oh, that's your rockers or something, timing chain or something like that. But 9 times out of 10, it's actually the balance shaft flogging around in the top of the block. So if you take the intake manifold off, you'll see a shaft that runs through the center, and that runs off the cam like at twice cam speed. So basically same as crank speed, but in the top there. And they make a hell of a bloody racket sometimes, and especially if you want the thing to accelerate quick. If you take them out, you do get better acceleration. They do make more horsepower because there's something else that you're not spinning inside the engine. Like anything spinning in the engine takes horsepower to actually rotate it. So, a lot of people don't realise, even with a supercharger, like a 671, takes a couple of hundred horsepower to actually accelerate that blower. So it takes a couple of pound of boost just to compensate for driving the blower, and then anything above that is extra horsepower. So anything you're spinning takes horsepower to drive. So anything you can take out of an engine that doesn't really need to be there, like balance shafts. A lot of people in the Mitsubishi world, they take the balance shafts out of the Mitsubishi 4-cylinders. I usually take them out of the Ecotechs if they're going to be a big horsepower sort of thing.
Didn't you take it out of your patrol?
What's that? No, I will take them out of the patrol when I blow it up. So, but you do get a slight bit of vibration. But unless you've driven the car all day, every day, and then took the balance shaft out, yes, you would notice it. But for someone to just jump in the car, you wouldn't notice a thing. Sometimes it just feels like, you might have a bit of a soft engine mount or something like that. So in saying that, replace your engine mounts if you do that. So you've got nice engine mounts again, and you probably won't even notice it. Basically, it's just a factory thing, just for smooth oil, and because they are an odd-fire motor. So that's all they do that for, is to keep the smoothness back in it. So.
Okay, so Zachary put here he'd rather an Ecotech over an Alloy Tech. Alloy Techs are garbage.
Alloy Techs, I absolutely despise them. I've nothing but drums with them. The amount of, when I was at an engine shop, the amount of those things that come in and were just they'd been hot. Their cylinder heads get soft straight away. The blocks warp. You can't make any decent horsepower out of them. I had a guy come in here a couple of weeks ago, and he spent I don't know how he could have, but he reckons he spent $35,000 on an Alloy Tech just to compete with the Ecotechs at the Speedway here in Kingaroy. And I just find that absolutely ridiculous. And it all over a little bit of weight. I didn't get that. So, but
value for money, Ecotech to Alloy Tech. Like a set of head gaskets, you can get 110, 150 bucks for a Ecotech. But an Alloy Tech kit starts at about $540.
And it's the timing chain thing as well, the timing chain and guides in them are absolute garbage, and they are a pain in the ass to change.
Coil packs shit themselves, starter motors are dog shit on them.
And they're just hard to get to as well.
Yeah.
Everything's hard to get to. Not a fan, not to disappoint anyone, but I just don't like them. I've got a lot of experience with all three types of V6, and doing Ecotech and Alloy Tech, don't like the Alloy Tech.
See, we're not against Barras. We're not against Ford. We're not against Holdens. It's just that some engines don't fit to what we want to achieve. Right, yeah. Alloy Techs are one of them. Ecotechs are fine. I'm going to put an Ecotech back in that red Ute we're going to build, which is I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. The Buicks are good. I like playing with them. Holden red motors, love playing with them. The LSs, obviously, I'm looking forward to. I've got a twin turbo 1J in that one there, which is going into a Sleeker Supra. But there are engines that are there to play with and that are good. Ben Arnold, thank you very much for your super chat, dude. Total legend.
I'm actually looking forward to doing the turbo Jag motor, the straight 6 Jag motor, just to show that we'll be able to make the same sort of power out of that as you can make out of a standard turbo barrow. If you boosted up a barrow and got it tuned and all that sort of stuff, with the standard internals, I'm saying, not cammed and all the rest of the crap, but that Jag 6-cylinder, being a 4.2 litre, will make just as much horsepower as a barrel will make. And it's just you don't need the new type engine to make good horsepower. They're still a twin overhead cam, 4.2 litre straight 6. They've been around since the 60s, and they're a bulletproof engine. And the size of the rods in there, and it'll probably make more horsepower at lower RPM than any standard barrel will make. And we are running a barrel style turbo on it as well. And
they run a turbo box too, like a turbo 400 style box. 400, Someone just asked, g'day Justin from Kiwi Land. Someone just asked, there's a 1-tonner there, as you can see. I've got a lot of 1-tonners that look like that. So 5 of them.
You've got cabs and chassis.
Yes, cabs and chassis and some bits and pieces. I'm hoping I've got enough there to put together a complete build, but I'm going to sit them all together in a line and together as a video we'll piece together something and make a 1-tonner.
We'll end up having to find a sedan or something as a donor car. For
Oh,
the
I've got-
pieces.
no, I've got-
the,
I've got everything.
We've got the
Yeah.
what is it? The Ute
Yeah.
panel bandy thing over there.
I do pretty well have everything.
So should I keep going with this carby or what?
I think I'm going to pull the pin on this very, very soon. Okay, my phone keeps ringing.
You know,
Okay,
what we'll do a video of me doing the carby, then we'll just post a video, I guess, because it'll be a
yeah,
a lot
we'll
of
do a
cuts in it.
full. I'm going to pull the pin on the live chat here. Okay, because I've got work to go do. I'll do a full video, in-depth video on how to rebuild a carby, okay, and show you the ins and outs on that. So guys, I'll just run through these. L67, we were talking about doing it for the Ute, but it's just not worth it for what you have to pay. Give me high comp, high flow NA any day. Yep, yeah, I don't mind. All that sort of stuff. All Commodores need the left-hand engine mount. They need both. They both sink, and the sump sits on the crossmember. Yeah. The balance matter with solid engine mounts for racing. That's it. The balance shaft matters, does it, with solid engine mounts for racing? Okay, realistically, we're talking about street cars.
No, it still doesn't matter.
Still doesn't matter. Okay, morning, L67 bottom ends, Ecotech swap in my Ecotech thingy on the top swap. Eco or Buick or Alloytech, either Ecotech or Buick. Alloytech I would never ever touch at all, ever, under any circumstances. I don't even like selling the engines or any of the parts to do with them because they all fail. Blind Garage, we have an Eco burnout station wagon, over 50 burnouts. Oh, okay. Good to see more Leith though. It's just hard, he's just working all the time, guys. G'day Alvin, how are you, buddy? Your shirt got printed this morning, so I'm picking it up at Savo and it will be sent out to you on Monday. Alvin won our shirt on Wednesday, okay, and it will be getting, it got printed this morning and it'll be posted out to him Monday for the super chats on the live feed parts finder on the Wednesday night. Okay, awesome, doesn't matter, thank you. Okay, no worries. All right, guys, I'm going to pull the pin there. Thank you very much for joining us again. You know the drill, like and subscribe. There'll be some more videos coming up. We're leaving for our road trip on Thursday. There'll be daily updates on the road trip as well as live feeds along the way. We'll try and do some meetups to meet you guys. There'll be a proper video done on rebuilding this carby. And yeah, thank you very much once again, guys. We're always heading forward. The merch is heading forward. And Seal. Now I've got to work out how this thing finishes again, eh? Always struggle with it. There we go.